A reading from the book of Sirach. My child, conduct your affairs in humility, and you will be loved more than a giver of gifts. Humble yourself the more, the greater you are, and you will find favor with God. What is too sublime for you, seek not. Into things beyond your strength, search not. The mind of a sage appreciates proverbs, and an attentive ear is the joy of the wise. Water quenches a flaming fire, and alms atones for sins. The word of the Lord.
God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. The just rejoice and exult before God. They are glad and rejoice. Sing to God, chant praise his name, whose name is the Lord. God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. The father of orphans and the defender of widows is God in his holy dwelling. God gives a home to the forsaken. He leads forth prisoners to prosperity. God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. A bountiful rain you showered down, O God, upon your inheritance. You restored the land when it languished, your flock settled in it. In your goodness, O God, you provided it for the needy. God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor.
A reading from the letter to the Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, you have not approached that which could be touched, and a blazing fire and gloomy darkness and storm and a trumpet blast and a voice speaking words such that those who heard begged that no message be further addressed to them. No, you have approached Mount Zion and the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and countless angels in festal gathering, and the assembly of the firstborn enrolled in heaven, and God, the judge of all, and the spirits of the just made perfect, and Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and the sprinkled blood that speaks more eloquently than that of Abel, The word of the Lord.
Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Hallelujah. You have the words of everlasting life. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him, and the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man." And then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place, so that when the host comes to you, he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who invited him, "When you hold a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors, in case that they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Blessed indeed will you be because of their inability to repay you. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
So I heard that last week you received a very long homily, and so I plan to continue that today. This gospel story reminded me of another story of mine that I have. I know I said usually I don't tell stories, but this one I'd like to share with you. I was invited to a wedding reception of one of my good friends, a friend who has been I've known for about 15 years or so. And as I got to the wedding reception, I found my name of where I was seated at the reception, and I was waiting for all the other guests to come to sit next to me. And the social hour went on, and then the wedding began, or the wedding reception began. And I look around and no one is sitting next to me. I was all alone at this table. And so I started to wonder, and I started to feel kind of upset that, how can my friend forget about me? All these years of friendship. I actually thought I was going to sit with her family, with their family. And so I was very offended. I felt very offended that I was sitting alone at her wedding reception. And so it wasn't actually until this week that I thought about this story again and realized that at that wedding, I was very concerned, overly concerned about, where are the other people, or other people who are supposed to sit with me. And I felt, I was concerned about how this would look on me. Weddings are sort of a social gathering, and so I felt that, I looked kind of silly sitting there all by myself. But I realized that I was too concerned about how I felt, too concerned about my own feelings and needs, that I wasn't really showing my support, my love to the person, to the couple who I was there for. And that was really what I learned from this experience, is that, this wedding reception or this party, it's not about me. It's about the one who invited me to the party, the one who invited me to the wedding banquet. And so I think that's a good thing to remember when we are invited to some place, to some party or occasion, that, not to be overly concerned about how you look, about how you feel, but to know that you're there to support, to show love to that person in whatever occasion they're celebrating. And I think this is what the gospel, this is what Jesus is trying to teach the Pharisees, is that to approach a party, to approach a wedding banquet with humility. If you go ahead and take the position of honor right away, you are saying to everyone that I am the most important person here, not the one who has hosted us. And so, do not seek honor for yourselves, that you forget the real purpose of coming to the banquet, the real purpose of coming to that party. The image of the wedding banquet, that kind of language, is also used to describe our Mass. Christ is the bridegroom, and we, the people, are his church, his bride. And so each time we come together to celebrate Mass, it is the bridegroom coming together with the bride in communion, being one with each other. And so we can think about it, we can reflect about our own attitude when we come to the Mass, when we come to worship. What is our mindset? What are we looking for? What are we focused on? Are we trying to find the best seat in the house? Are we looking to be entertained, maybe by the music or the homily, or maybe by the announcements? Do we get offended or upset, disappointed if the homily goes too long? I know I do. That's why I like having short homilies. But, we can ask ourselves and refocus our minds, our hearts, that we are not there to be entertained. We are not here to be entertained. We are here to worship, to give our love to God. A part of our Mass is bringing something to the Lord, bringing our lives, bringing our blessings, our difficulties, and offering that to God in our Mass. And so what do we bring today, each and every day, when we come to Mass? What do we bring to the Lord? Let us approach God always with humility, remembering that we are here to show our love, to show our thanksgiving for how the Lord has worked in our lives, so that we can be attentive to his voice, to his message,